Have you ever felt like something was about to change in your life, even when nothing around you seems to confirm it? What if this week wasn't just another ordinary week, but the moment when everything begins to transform in ways you can't yet see? This isn't just another message, this is a prophetic word from God for your life today, and it can speak directly to what you've been feeling deep in your heart. God is working silently, and even when it seems like nothing is happening, something powerful is already in motion behind the scenes. Stay with me until the end, because what you are about to understand may completely change the way you see this phase of your life. You may have gone through moments of waiting, prayer, and even doubt as to whether God has forgotten your situation, but the truth is very different from what your eyes can see. This week God will change your life in ways you didn't expect, and the answer you've been waiting for may be closer than you imagine. You've experienced periods of delay, confusion, and silence. But what if all of that was just preparation? What God is doing in silence will surprise you, and this is just the beginning of a message that could mark a turning point in your life. What if this message is already echoing in your heart right now? If something within you has been touched, don't ignore that feeling. Perhaps God is speaking to you in a more personal way than you imagine at this moment. If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment below about what touched you most in this message, what you are experiencing, or even how you have been feeling this waiting period in your life. Your experience can strengthen other people who are also going through the same process. And if this message is reaching you in any way, don't forget to like this video, because that helps this message reach more people who also need to hear exactly this today. And if you feel in your heart that you want to continue receiving messages like this, subscribe to the Divine Call channel, because here we share words that strengthen faith, renew hope, and remind us that God is still working, even in silence. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more lives with this type of content. And now, as this message continues, perhaps it's time for you to open your heart even more to what God still wants to show you in this message. And perhaps what confuses your heart most at this moment is not the pain, but the silence. Because when nothing changes on the outside, the mind begins to create doubts on the inside. But there is a hidden truth that you need to understand. Silence is not absence, it's behind the scenes. God is working where you can't see, aligning details, people, paths, and even decisions that you haven't even noticed yet. What seems like a pause is actually preparation, and what seems like a delay may simply be the time needed for everything to fall perfectly into place. There are invisible processes happening right now on your journey, adjusting what will sustain your next phase. It's as if doors are already being organized before you even reach them, because when the transformation comes, nothing will be by chance. And perhaps what you call waiting is actually God shaping your mindset to sustain something greater than what you have experienced so far. This completely changes the way you see life, because the impact doesn't begin externally, but in how you interpret what's happening behind the scenes. It's not just about change, but about alignment, about silent decisions being guided and a direction being built without noise, but with purpose. And when you begin to realize this, your faith ceases to be mere expectation and becomes understanding. Comment below, this makes sense to me. What if everything you've experienced so far wasn't just a delay, but the closing of a cycle that needed to end? Because there comes a point in the journey when the confusion loses its power and begins to give way to a new clarity, almost as if the mind finally understands the purpose behind so much waiting. Perhaps you've gone through silent frustrations, decisions that didn't work out, paths that seemed promising but stalled halfway through, and this has created an internal weight that's difficult to explain. But what you haven't realized yet is that cycles don't end with noise, they end with alignment. And when a cycle of waiting and confusion comes to an end, something inside you also begins to change. Your mindset reorganizes, your way of seeing the future expands, and what once seemed distant begins to take shape in a new perspective. It's as if a hidden truth is being revealed little by little, showing that nothing was in vain, it was just being adjusted at the right time. And this week carries exactly that kind of transition, not just as something external, but as a profound internal impact, where the weight begins to lift and hope begins to breathe again. The end of this cycle isn't just about leaving things behind, but about entering a new phase of understanding, where everything starts to make sense in a different way. Write this down, I'm on this journey too. And when you begin to understand that a cycle is ending, something even deeper needs to be revealed. It's not about human control, it's about divine guidance. Because there are doors that don't depend on your effort, your strength, or the surrounding circumstances, they depend on alignment. And when God intervenes, no one can stop what has been determined to happen on your journey. This completely changes how you view your decisions, because now it's not just about trying, but about being in the right place at the right time. God is opening doors that no one can close, and this means that whatever is released in your life will not be interrupted by human opinion, opposition, or delay. There is a hidden truth in this process that few realize. When the direction comes from above, even obstacles begin to serve as preparation, not as blockages. And this transforms your mindset, because you stop living only reacting and begin to live understanding the behind-the-scenes aspects of what is being built. Perhaps you've tried to force some doors open, but now it's different, because what's coming doesn't require pressure, it requires taking a stand. And when this change happens, the impact isn't just external, but internal, in how you believe, decide, and walk. These doors aren't just opportunities, they're signs of a new phase being released in your journey, where everything begins to reorganize itself in a way you haven't fully seen yet. Comment below. God is in control. And perhaps the most important part of all this is realizing that your turning point may have already begun without you even noticing. Because transformation doesn't always have an immediate impact, often it begins subtly, almost silently, changing your perception even before it changes your reality. You may be feeling a different kind of restlessness, a desire to make decisions that didn't make sense before, or even an inner feeling that something needs to change, even without understanding exactly what. And these signs aren't random. They're part of a larger process of revelation and alignment. Sometimes, unexpected people appear, bringing conversations that spark new ideas, or opportunities begin to appear in ways that seem coincidental but are actually part of an invisible construction happening on your journey. This directly impacts your mindset because you begin to move out of stagnation and enter a state of greater sensitivity to what is being prepared. And when that happens, even your heart changes its rhythm, as if something inside you already knows that a new phase is coming. This feeling of urgency, of internal movement, is one of the first signs that the hidden truth of your process is gradually revealing itself. When you understand these signs, your vision of life and decisions changes completely, and everything starts to make more sense within your own journey. Comment below. My turning point has begun. And when you reach this point in the journey, there's something that needs to be understood very clearly. Your turning point doesn't depend on what you're feeling now, but on the continuity of your journey even when everything seems uncertain, because the movement has already begun, even if it's not yet visible to your eyes. And it's precisely here that many get lost, because they confuse silence with stillness, when in reality it's just an invisible phase of construction. The hidden truth of this process is that the deepest transformation doesn't happen in the noise, but in consistency. It is in this place that your mindset is strengthened, your decisions begin to change, and your perception of life expands. You may not have all the answers yet, but you are already within a larger flow of alignment, where every detail is being adjusted to generate impact at the right time. And remaining steadfast isn't about feeling something all the time, but about trusting even when there's no immediate confirmation. This is the most important part of your journey now, because it's where everything begins to take shape in the invisible before manifesting in the natural. You understand that you are already in motion, your way of living changes, your expectations are renewed, and you begin to see the coming days with a new perception of what is being built behind the scenes of your story. Write this down. I remain steadfast. And if you've made it this far, perhaps it wasn't by chance, but because this message found you at exactly the right moment in your journey. There's something special about those who persevere until the end, because it shows sensitivity to what's being built inside, not just what appears on the outside. And if this phrase resonated with you, leave a simple comment. I'm with you until the end, just so I know this message truly stayed with you this far. If this content somehow touched your heart or brought clarity to this moment you're going through, please leave a like, because that helps this message reach other people who also need to hear this today, perhaps even silently, in the same kind of phase you're experiencing. And if you feel that this type of message strengthens your faith and helps you see life in a different way, subscribe to the channel, because here you will continue to receive words that bring direction, hope, and reflection to your daily life. And before you go, there's a video here that complements everything you've heard today very well. Click on it and continue with me there.